What is up, YouTubers? Clayton here, and for today's video, I've decided, since at one point I did say that when I got a Wii U, I would compare it to the Wii and overall the rest of them. So, I have one, and I think we'll go from it. As you can see, controller, and we'll be going over the console itself as well. So, let's get right into it. I'll be showing them to you as a close-up on my desk. You won't see my pretty face, you'll just see my hands. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, we'll start off with the console itself. You'll see I have, on the back, we'll start here, a couple of flash drive ports. I have here is my own little 32 gig drive, which is really useful because, unlike on the Wii, at least whenever I was able to do it, this can store your games, and actually has a lot of my games immediately stored to it. It didn't even use the real hard drive yet. We got all the rest of the stuff, but we have a beautiful little HDMI port now that, so many people said, oh, we need to get HDMI on the original Wii. Why didn't they release it with that? Well, that's alright. You know what? Fine. Nintendo's always been more on the lines of making quality over quantity. They didn't care so much about fancy things like that, because they made lots of fun games on the Wii. There's tons of them, and you didn't need HD for that. But I, amongst many others, am quite happy to see the HD show up on this one. So in the front, we have basic setup. Just like with the Wii, we have a place for an SD card and a couple more flash drives. So this thing is just hooked up with all the flash drives that you need, and some that you probably don't. Basic eject, power, nothing new there, drive. It's a fairly nice, sleek machine, and I like the fact that it's a nice, shiny black, although I'm getting my fingerprints all over it now, so I'll have to wipe it down later. Yeah, there's not much else to say about it. The sensor bar looks about the same, everything and all like that. It has little, you see these little nubs here? Oh, I guess you can't see, there we go. Little nubs here, these actually hook into little feet so it can stand up on end properly. It looks better that way anyways. Well, I think that's about it for the console. Let's move on to the main attraction. And that would be this. The controller. Now that's not something. Starting right off, the first thing you look at this and think is, that's gotta be heavy. That's gotta be unwieldy. Believe it or not, it isn't. This is very light, made very lightweight, very comfortable, no less, to use. Oh geez, the screen's filthy. Oh well, so, moving on. It has the D-pad that every controller has at somewhere or another. It has sticks on both sides. We have the usual Nintendo button configuration here, B and A, Y and X. And an interesting melding of start and select, but they have the plus and minus ones from the Wii on there too. Over here we got the home button, significantly larger than on the Wii controller, the Wiimote. And it also glows. This thing I found actually is kind of interesting. Whenever a deal pops up on the Nintendo store, it glows and it's like makes a little ringing noise and is like, hey, there's something new and cool you should spend your money on. And I'm like, no, I don't want to spend my money on it, but I must. Over here, we have the battery light. We have the TV control, which is kind of my favorite function. Roommate bugs me all the time about it. But honestly, this is how I control the TV half the time because I can't find my own remote. Basic power controller. On this side, these little bumps here are the speakers. And it took me a little bit to figure it out when I first got it, but this little symbol here is for Amiibos. So yeah. It's got a very beautifully clean screen. Well, okay, not clean. The picture is generally nice and clean. Mine is filthy right now, but it's still a nice picture. Up at the top you got a camera for any type face camming sort of things like that. We turn it around. You see you got an L and R's up here. And up here we've got volume for the actual pad itself. See, the cool thing about this is that just about every Wii U game that I know of, you can play the game on this and don't even have to have the TV on. So that's a definite upside, especially if your buddy wants to watch a movie and you're like, I want to play my Wii. And then you remember you own the TV and you tell him to screw off. No. Up here we got the infrared. This is for the TV remote controls. This is headphone jack, so, you know, even more privacy on your own little handheld system. AC adapter, that's for the plug, that's the power plug. Down here we actually have triggers. No, I'm not on the camera properly. Down here we got triggers. And also it comes with its very own little stylus. Actually a bit chunkier than the DS stylus. Underneath there's nothing really special. There's a little thing here for a mount. I think I don't know what it's supposed to mount to. Maybe something we'll find out later in life. And a hookup on the bottom. I am not 100% sure what that one is for either, actually. How have I only noticed that now? I've had this thing for like a couple months. Oh well. Moving on, I have to find that this is actually really comfortable. Really nice, I like it. Now, putting it next to the Wiimote, my lovely blue Wiimote, they have similarities. I mean, obviously they have the power button on the Wiimote being a little bit smaller, actually. Not by much. Just looks smaller, I don't know why. The D-pad is obviously smaller, but it's a smaller controller. A button, of course, this thing's buttons were all over the place, because the A button was here, the B was on the back, and the X and Y were on the nunchuck. So that was a whole different thing. Plus and minus, start and select. And the home button, that's definitely smaller. I mean, you look at this little bitty nub here, this little thing here, and then you got this. Then you got this thing here. This is huge. I like this better. It's easier to press. All in all, I like it better. It's a better innovation than the motion controls that came with the Wiimote. But at the time, obviously, this was the thing. This was motion controls. This was the big thing. So it was innovative for its time. Personally, I find it gives me a wrist strain if I use it for too long on an actual game, like, say, Metroid Prime or something like that. But it's still not bad. It was good for its time, but honestly, and it does actually still work on the Wii U. You can I actually have all my old Wii games, everything loaded onto it's kind of got a little virtual version of its original Wii menu. And you can play all your old Wii games on it and the old Virtual Console games you bought on the store. Which is awesome, because I didn't want to have to pay money to get those all again. So, it's good, and it still has a place with the Wii U. It's usable even with things like the new Smash Brothers. So, it's definitely not its equal. There is so many things better about this controller. But they're both products of their time. They're both an innovation. The Wiimote was the innovation that started motion controls, and look at Xbox and PlayStation. They all pulled off their own motion controls while doing that. This one basically makes the big console also a semi-portable game controller. I mean, you can't leave too far from the actual console itself, but it's still something. So, in closing, I find that, honestly, this was a major step up for Nintendo. I like it, and yes, you know what? I grew up a Nintendo fanboy, so everybody's going to be like, "Oh, Clayton, you're biased. I don't care. The facts speak for themselves. This is a fun console. Sadly, it seems its life is already coming to an end. They're already planning a new one. But for its lifespan, this is a fun console. Has beautifully clean graphics, lots of fun games on it. I mean, heck, I've spent hours upon hours on just Super Mario Maker alone. And these are just a few games that they're on there. Mario Maker and Smash Bros. Those are games that I spent hours on. It's just fun. That's just two of them. There's tons of games that come for this. And it's like perfect. I feel it to be a natural evolution of the original Wii. It's very good. It keeps all the fun. It may be a step behind the other consoles on graphics, but that's fine. I mean, this new one that's coming out, NX or whatever they're creating, that's fine. That's probably going to catch up to the Xbox One and the PS4. I'm okay with that. I know Nintendo will keep making good games. Well, not just them, but they have lots of other people, too, lots of other companies that are making good games for it. But I know Nintendo generally makes the best games. I mean, they've been making games since the old days. They've been fun, hard games. I mean, think of some of the games on the NES. Those are old, Yes, hard, exceptionally in most cases. But you kept going back to them, and they were fun. And fun is I'm sorry, at the end of the day, fun is the commodity we're looking for with these things. You want fun. I mean, what's the point of a video game if it doesn't cause fun? I don't know. That's just me. That's just one man's opinion. Personally, I find that if the game doesn't produce fun, it's no longer a game, it's work. And you know what? We go through work in our daily lives every day. So why not have something that's going to be fun instead of work? So yeah, that's all I've got to say on that. Overall, fanboy or no, Nintendo the Wii U is definitely an awesome console. Performed even better than even I expected, and I actually expected it to pretty well. My roommate didn't expect it to be anywhere near as good, and even he says it's really good. So, and he's not a Nintendo fan. He's an Xbox One fanboy, so that should tell you something. So I'll leave this video here, and I will see you all next time, YouTubeverse. Until then, Clayton out.